Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video looks at employment law. It's the final one in this section. We've gone through all of these different aspects of the political and legal environment. The final one we need to cover is the laws in relation to the labour market, which are known as employment law. So employment law is legislation which concerns the rights of individual workers as well as groups of employees such as trade unions. So various important areas of employment law. There are two main areas of employment law. One concerns individuals' rights and the other concerns the rights of trade unions. We'll have a look first at the employment laws for individuals. So a really important piece of legislation is the Equality Act 2010. I'm not going to go into loads of detail on this because we've covered this in the AS course in the People unit, which I think was unit 3.6. But the Equality Act basically means that you can't discriminate against someone for reasons of gender, sexuality, race, religion, disability, or any other kind of attribute, physical attribute of someone that would make them a target for discrimination, and that would refer to all aspects of the HR flow, recruitment, pay, promotion, making redundancies. So the Equality Act covers all of that. The national minimum wage, or the national living wage, is a minimum amount that businesses need to pay their workers. In the Health and Safety at Work Act, all of these are considered all of these are about protecting individuals at work and upholding individuals' rights. Excuse me. Employment laws for trade unions are all about obviously collective bargaining, and again we looked at trade unions as part of the People Human Resources unit in the AS course. Now an important point of employment law is every individual has a right to representation or to join a union. However, employers do not necessarily need to recognise or even negotiate with the trade union. Everyone's got the right to join, but employers won't necessarily be negotiating with them. Now, a recent update, and it only came in, I believe, in about March of 2017, was that trade unions are only allowed now to strike in certain conditions. So they've got to ballot all of their members, which means basically ask all their members if they're in favour of a strike. For starters, there needs to be a turnout of over 50% of union members. In other words, over half of the people in that union need to vote, and the majority of those that turn out need to be in favour of a strike for that strike to go ahead. Now, it's thought that that's going to quite dramatically reduce the number of strikes that are possible. So, what are the opportunities for businesses? Well, we've got the opportunity to employ a diverse workforce that are reflective of customers, more likely to be responsive to customers' needs. We're going to have a more motivated and stable workforce as a result of making sure we're implementing all these employment laws, making sure people feel safe at work, they're not discriminated against. All of these things should be opportunities for the business. In terms of threats, well, strikes could be called. There could be an increase in the national minimum wage. All of these laws are changing all the time. I guess you could also make a reasonable argument that the employees may lose their motivation if they feel that they can't go on strike as a result of changes in the law. So it's obvious that the legal environment changes all the time. Businesses need to be aware of changes in the legal environment, because if they're not aware and they breach the laws that are in place, then obviously that would represent a threat and the risk of prosecution. However, if businesses comply with the law, laws are usually there for a good reason. I think we could all agree with the aims of the Equality Act. So there are opportunities there for businesses as well.